Hi, this is Victoria McMahon, and I'm an advocate with the Language of Consciousness Institute. And I'm with Lori Candon, who's on the team of bringing programming to the Institute as well. And we want to share a couple of new events that are rising to be offered by the two of us through the Language of Consciousness Institute. And they're happening in March. March 16th is What is Exploring Soma? And then the following Thursday, for 4 weeks, we will be exploring Soma through mind language, emotion language, and body languaging. And so we thought we'd take a few minutes to introduce this new exploration by talking a little bit about Soma and what you hear about Soma. And Lori and I were just talking about it a minute ago. So Lori, share some of the thoughts that you had, because I think it's a perfect way to start.
Yeah, I think now in the present time, I hear Soma a lot, and the relationship people have with the Soma, I mostly hear it's just physical body. And it got me to thinking, when I was young, I I was pretty in tune, I think, with nature and my Soma and like all of that. And as I got older, I went into mental languaging and I disconnected like from my body. So it's interesting. I originally was introduced to Soma as physical body too. And that was like, whoa. And for me, the transformational like shifting that was sustainable really maintained when I included the fullness of what Soma is and not just the physical body. So it's yeah, Soma includes a lot.
You know what? Say a little bit more, flesh that out a little bit for us. What Soma is for you.
Soma is for me is like the totality of all of your systems communicating.
Mm.
And not only like in this physical being, but in connection with nature. And um while Soma is here, but there's that relational way of being that I'm informed through my Soma, whether it's a mental thought, an emotion, or a sensation or a tingling, like if you're riding a roller coaster, it's like or you
Mhm.
smell that rose or something, your lilacs are my favorite. So when I smell, that creates like a whole system response. And the older I get, the more I'm in tune. I've been listening to and observing all of those centers differently throughout different points in my life.
And you know what? I know that probably most people are not familiar with what it means to listen and have the experience of a whole system response. So I'm glad you brought that term into the conversation, because it gives us the opportunity to say, this is what you may be curious about. Well, what does that mean? Um, and how is it that I might explore beyond my thinking mind and explore the language of how all those systems interact and give us that experience of being whole system response beings. And that's what our events are really about, opening up into that. So I think that's pretty cool that you brought it in this moment.
We live it, so it's easy to bring it in naturally.
Yeah, and we want you to live it too with us. We
Yeah.
want you to come play with us and get a taste in the beginning, like what we're creating, which has been so amazing to me, is that my body system, my emotional system, my mental system has been longing to bring forward to the public the way in which I have paid attention and like you said, in the natural world when you were a kid, all systems were firing, so to speak. And then culture got a hold of you, and it was like a survival kind of thing to live from the mind only. And then you had to come home to and remember and regenerate what was natural for you. And I think that's amazing. And I'm betting you're not the only one who has operated that way in our culture.
Right. And and that's, you shared your longing. That's my longing too, is for each and every one of us to find our own relationship to that dynamic and the potency and the aliveness that's available when we connect that deeply. It is truly a way to create the change that you want to create in a sustainable way. And it's observing, I observe, um I would say like almost 99.9% of the time am observing my body in some degree or another. And with that, there's a moment when I'm like, all right, I feel my body, and then I track the thoughts, or I track the emotion, but I always have a connection to the physical body. And it makes me curious because I wonder if I'm so connected now because I wasn't connected before, or due to life circumstances and things. But as a kid, I don't I don't know if I necessarily remember like the consciousness of connecting with it like I do now. I was just in it, and I think that's the beautiful thing about kids. And I'm like that playful spirit. I'm
You
like, I
know,
want that.
that's really, I think that's so important to recognize that if you watch a baby breathe, if you watch little kids playing with toys, creating imaginative realities in which they're a part of the
Yes.
experience they're having, how they interact with others. And we say, how does that 2-year-old know to ask that amazing question or that curiosity? For me, that's the recognition of the innateness of their somatic being alive and engaged.
Mhm.
And so it's not like you have to mentally think to be who you are.
Right.
It comes from you being with yourself as you are and moving into the doing of life from that being place. And you and I have talked about this over the years. Like, how do we like help people recognize that in themselves? Well, being the kid is a remembrance of that. And I think that's exquisite that you brought that in today.
Yeah. That's one thing that the older I get, I want everybody to have a little bit of play, because, or balance the play with the work, because it is so um easy. That's where the art comes in. You do get to create and be imaginative and just try something on, and if it doesn't work, all right, try something else on. And with discernment as we age, then, we can be in a direct relationship with choices and um, this is enhancing my life. I want to step this way, and recognizing if it's not a life enhancing step, and just be like, okay, let's go back over here or try something new.
And I'm going to pull the word out in that conversation is to be.
Yeah.
To be that most of us in our culture have gotten into I'm going to say, a habituated practice over time, that it's part of our cultural um, way of interacting, that we assume interaction comes from what we do. And what I heard you saying was that you would pause and reflect and observe how something was working or not working. And in that way of being with your systems, your mind, your emotion, your body, giving room, giving space for the exploration of who you are in a matter, then that gives you some access to a choice that is from all of those systems in whole system response that you said earlier, everything cooperatively engaging, so that what you find yourself doing is really that innate natural way that you experienced yourself doing what you did when you were little. And I think we've kind of lost our connection to that. So as I'm kind of thinking about why we're bringing this forward, why we're bringing the full language of Soma and how to explore and be with yourself, it's to bring us into that innate natural way of being that we're designed to be from birth.
Agreed.
Any thoughts to kind of close it out and to move us into, we're going to talk about this in various ways between now and mid-March when we do our first conversation as a group. Is there anything else for today that you'd want people to know about?
No, it's much easier to do in community with the different mirrors, if you will, rather than, well, I'll speak from personal experience, rather than trying to do it all myself. It's really more joyful, more impactful while in community. And it's a joy to be with our somas, in community. It's like anything's possible with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. I'm just taking this last minute or so in our conversation to launch this beautiful piece of work that we've been exploring how to bring it forward. And I'd love for you to share the bringing forward for you of this. I shared a little bit of what it is to me to bring this beginning exploration to community, to the public. Anything that you might want to add before we close?
I would say my biggest longing is for each and every one of us, myself included, to get to know ourselves the way that we are meant to be. And when we operate from that place, for me, it's magic. It's magic. And I want everyone to have access to their own magic.
Tingling in the body, body languaging, saying, I love what you're saying. I feel connected to you in this. And my system registers, yeah, I can't wait to continue exploring. And so who knows, maybe the next conversation we have will be about how we do operate in our systems. We're letting it organically rise. You'll see us on Facebook and YouTube sharing more conversations over the coming weeks. You can go to the Language of Consciousness Institute Facebook page for more information. You can get links there to register. The first exploration, what is Exploring Soma, is free to just come and learn more about what the 4-week series will look like, and to be in a community of others exploring and asking questions and getting connected. And so more to come.
It's been a pleasure. I love talking about this stuff.
I love playing with you too. Our work is play. Thank you, everyone.